for those who listen and don't watch, let me start this episode differently. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Chances were quite high that you just sang along or hummed along. Either you're a good person and you hummed along, da, 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 or like me, you would have started to sing John Cena sucks. And hey, yes, university media professor talking about John Cena. What is happening, right? There are several reasons why we do this right now, but of course the latest is John Cena's latest heel turn / abandoning of his heel turn, because John Cena's heel turn was something that was kind of similar to any other big trend online, crypto, AI, whatever. It's like everyone swears it's going to happen. There are rumors, there's engagement, everyone wants it. We've wanted it for 20 years, and then it happened. And then that's it. Well, Saudi come and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. Apparently the place where we talk wrestling. Second wrestling episode in a month or so, and I'm enjoying it because obviously I'm a huge WWE / WW whatever, AW, let's call it just wrestling nerd, okay? Wrestling has been a big part of my life since I was 10 or something, when my dad first showed me the Ultimate Warrior, running to the ring, shaking the ropes. So yeah, wrestling. John Cena in particular. And why do I feel the need to talk about John Cena right now? He turned heel. That's becoming a bad guy for those who listen to a wrestling episode for some reason, not knowing what this is. So he turned heel, became a bad guy for the first time in his whole career, basically. He had some heelish tactics here and there as the doctor of thugonomics, but hey, he's been a babyface, meaning good guy, for 20 years or whatever, right? So now, we always wondered what would happen if John Cena were to be a bad guy. And then eventually it happened. First, March 2025, Toronto, right? He turned heel. He became a bad guy. Something we wanted to know and see for the longest time. We wanted to get rid of John Cena's faceception, right? He's always the face. And there was this meme for the longest time while he was still there every single week. No, not anymore. It's always ha, lol, John Cena wins, right? Every single time. John Cena's in a match, lol, Cena wins. So now eventually that changed, because now it's more part-time, more in Hollywood than in WWE, but now he came back and we're like, hey, what's going to happen? And he turns heel, he becomes a bad guy. That was crazy, because for nearly 2 decades, he was this squeaky clean, the Make-A-Wish guy. He has more Make-A-Wish wishes fulfilled than any other celebrity in the world, ever. And his slogan was hustle, loyalty, respect. You can see me, and stuff like this. And, in pro wrestling terms, professional wrestling terms, this being the face and being that face, that good guy, the number one go-to good guy. If you think good guy in wrestling, you think John Cena. And if you're good there for that long, it's like you're running for president every year and every term, and you win every single time. You're the guy. Okay, you think wrestling, you think WWE, you thought John Cena. Okay, so that means that heel turn was kind of like the white whale for us longtime fans, for fans wanting something new, something different, because there's a reason why we sing John Cena sucks when his music hits, right? John Cena sucks. There's a reason. Not because we hate John Cena, we understand this persona. You need a super mega good guy for the bad guys to fight with. Everyone understands that. But it's just stale, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Kind of like, if you go back to my latest wrestling episode about Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, brother. And Cena is the new iteration hustle, loyalty, respect, eventually it's getting stale because it's just the same thing over and over again. Your favorite TV show is getting stale, right? So same thing here. And we thought, we as the wrestling fans, that white whale, John Cena as a bad guy, will forever get away from us. Now, every other wrestling superstar that you like as a wrestling fan has switched roles. Was a good guy, became a bad guy, was a bad guy, became a good guy. It's usually related to some narrative arcs, like they're experiencing something's get taken away from them, their championship title, a friendship, they get betrayed and then they turn heel, become bad guys, or their team that they're part of, they turn on them, they betray them, and then they become good guys, whatever it might be, right? So there's always a story to it. But for Cena, we're like, he had so many chances to become a bad guy, and he never did, because hustle, loyalty, respect. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. So it was mostly like a theoretical thing, like, hey, if Cena turns heel, this would be so cool because it would be against everything. No one would anticipate it. After 20 years, we wanted it forever, but we felt like it's never gonna happen. And now that he said he's gonna retire at the end of this year, he's gonna retire as a good guy. He's never gonna be a bad guy. And there's this term in wrestling, right? It's called kayfabe. Kayfabe simply means keep that role alive, even outside of the wrestling ring. So what you see on TV are characters, of course. Everyone knows that. Yes, we know it's not real. Okay, it's real to us. Damn it! It's like in a TV show, they play a character. You know that outside of the TV show, they're normal people, right? Kayfabe is an old school term that means, hey, keep your character alive even outside of the wrestling show. A great example just happened this past weekend. There was SummerSlam for WWE, like a big event, and there's one wrestler, one performer, Seth Rollins. He got injured, narratively injured a few weeks ago, and he kept that injury alive also outside of the WWE ring/show. So on his Instagram, he posted about being injured, was walking around with crutches. His wife, who's also a wrestler, posted about him being injured. He took over other sports shows as a moderator because he couldn't train. All fake, right? But keeping the picture alive. So that's like kayfabe, okay? So kayfabe is kind of like, if you think about it from a media point of view, like transmedia storytelling. In media studies, communication studies, we talk a lot about transmedia storytelling, meaning you tell one big story, one narrative arc that you have, or actually several arcs, but one big narrative that you have on different platforms, okay? So you don't say the same thing on those platforms, because then that's boring. Why would I follow your brand, whatever you are, on different platforms if you post the same thing everywhere, right? Boring. So you add to the story by posting different things on different platforms, but keep telling the same story. So in this case, Seth Rollins, the wrestler, gets injured on TV, on WWE, Raw, SmackDown, all those shows. And then he keeps that image alive, like outside, right? Goes on TV shows, gives interviews about being injured. His wife posts about being injured, and so on. So that's kayfabe, okay? Transmedia storytelling in wrestling, basically. And then, like I said, you have like those heel, bad guy, villain archetypes, right? And that's very nice to have, because as an audience, you want to have bad guys, right, that you cheer against, or maybe sometimes even cheer for them. But then that flip from super bad guy to good guy, or from super mega good guy, John Cena, to bad guy, that creates those shock waves. So it's like, oh my God, it's happening. What is happening? Yeah, in wrestling history, there's even one of those flips, of those turns, where two wrestlers at the same point change roles. One guy goes in as the good guy, one guy goes in as the bad guy. They have a match, and at the end of the match, they have the roles reversed. Crazy. Yes, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart, fantastic storytelling, and they managed to switch roles at the same time. Fantastic. All this being said, that all those roles and narratives going into like matches, they also set expectations, right? As you get teased, for example, what might happen. You get teased that like Cena on Instagram thinking, and like, oh, I should have won that. What should I do? Should I try? Will people remember me? That's his narrative arc right now, that he's scared that people might forget him once he retires. So all those things keep the engagement high and keep the anticipation high to see, hey, what's gonna happen next? Now, we're focusing on John Cena today, right? So the big problem with his heel turn that WWE had, and maybe even other brands have with this, is that he wasn't just the character. He's a brand. He's the number one brand ambassador for WWE. He's the Make-A-Wish guy. He's the sponsorship guy. He's the guy that talks for WWE, that goes onto news shows, onto Jimmy Kimmel, that sells the most T-shirts, and so on, right? So turning him to be a bad guy that could risk to alienate, like especially younger fans who don't really get that it's just a show, right? And the thing is, if you turn away the kids, then the parents will follow, right? So because the kids want the shirts, especially the colorful John Cena shirts and all those things. And it's kind of a paradox that you're in, because fans want change, they demand change, but then if you follow that and you change something, that could threaten the business model, right? Kind of crazy. And very similar to communication in any kind of brand, communication, right? Innovation is great. Innovate enough to look fresh, but never enough to actually lose your core revenue stream. Because if you innovate too much, then your current audience is going to be like, that's weird, that's different. Why? Kind of like what happened to ChatGPT, GPT-5. You innovate too much and you're like a user, like, what the hell? Where are my cool answers from like yesterday? This new model is terrible. I don't like it, right? So you're like stuck somewhere in between. And the thing is, when it comes to the Cena heel turn, right? He had those heelish bad guy moments for a little bit without fully turning, right? So sometimes he would align a little bit with like bad guys, maybe just temporarily, maybe. Sometimes when he had promos are like those when he has like a mic and then talks about something, where he sometimes blurred the face, heel, good guy, bad guy boundaries a little bit. Yeah, lots of meta commentary on his own image. He's like, I know what you guys think about me. And he's like, let's break the fourth wall. And he talks into the camera, for example. Sometimes in interviews he played into this heel role, like, yeah, maybe it's gonna happen. Yeah, I always wanted to do it, but it never really happened, right? But he tried to feed that hype cycle. And that's very similar to I want to even say political communication, right? Politicians, they trial balloon like extreme positions to test to see like, how does the audience react to it? Same with Cena. Cena's like, oh, yeah, maybe I can't always keep it up. And you see, people react to it. People really want it. Okay, so then it's like, okay, let's pull the trigger. So March 1st this year, they actually pulled the trigger. Everyone went nuts. Why that happened? And the first 2 days after, everybody went nuts. It was amazing. And then it felt so flat. It felt so flat. I don't know anyone who actually enjoyed it. I also didn't enjoy it anymore, unfortunately. And he behaved like a bad guy. He tried to behave like a bad guy. Changed his intro to like just black screen and his name, nothing colorful anymore. Not the upbeat music anymore. He said the bad things that you expect a bad guy to say, like, I want to ruin wrestling and things like this. But somehow it just did not work. People didn't buy into it. We didn't believe him. It felt like, and it's a bit like Inception now, it felt like that John Cena, who's playing good guy John Cena on TV usually, it felt like that this John Cena playing the good guy John Cena was playing the bad guy John Cena. And you're like, yeah, you're not that good of an actor. Sorry. So it felt like all like just too much like hardcore acting. And as you know, even in any TV show, in any movie, good actors don't make it look like acting, right? That's why we like TV shows, movies. That's why they get paid so much money. But here it looked like he's acting like a bad guy without actually fully buying into it. And yeah, it didn't really work. The energy wasn't there. The people didn't boo him as much as you would expect, like a villain to be booed, a super villain to be booed. Initially, he was aligned with The Rock and Travis Scott, but then they didn't appear anymore and they were gone and no one really knows what happened there. So the storyline just disappeared. So can't only blame John Cena for that. Like also the creative team maybe like fumbled that a little bit. So then this past week actually on Friday before SummerSlam, John Cena turned back face. He's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruin wrestling. Wrestling's my life. I'm just scared that you guys would forget me. And that really is what I'm really scared of. And so he kind of like turned back to be a good guy, opening up about his feelings. And his opponent for SummerSlam this past weekend, Cody Rhodes, embraced it, appreciated it, and like, yep, that's understandable. Let's just, you and me, two super good guys, basically. Let's go at it and see may the best man win, kind of like a thing. And while it is it's nice, and then now, like, the colorful entrance is back, and then when he came out for SummerSlam, first the black screen, they're like, still bad guy, and then it flipped to like the colorful and the da-da-da-da, and everyone lost their mind and cheered for him and then cheered against him. John Cena sucks. At the end, everyone applauded him and was like going like, thank you, Cena, which is nice. But again, from a storytelling point of view and from a communications point of view, this back and forth switching, flipping, kind of annoying. And I know we're in a make-believe world, just like in movies and in TV shows, but the same thing applies to movies and TV shows for me. I need some kind of logic in there. And there was just no logic to that, and that's a bit sad. WWE will say, hey, we just gave the fans what they wanted. They wanted a bad John Cena, we gave it to them. It didn't work, so you want a good John Cena again, so we give it to you again. From a fan's perspective, I was like, yeah, well, try harder to make him a really good heel, a really good, like good in terms of like make him a super villain, make him like the number one super bad guy, right? But it shows that the framing theory that we discuss all the time is everywhere, right? Now WWE tries to frame it. That was my fan. Now WWE tries to frame it as like, we're just giving the people what they want, which is nice, but it's also a little bit of like, you're taking the easy way out here. What the hell, right? But hey, so that's like the communications point of view, media point of view there. A few takeaways I think that we can actually learn from WWE and John Cena's heel turn is that suspense engineering, so like the build up, then it's actually happening in order to keep the audience engaged and stay like in a state of like, will they, won't they, will they? They did. It's good. Brand elasticity in this case also, right? Like John Cena's image after like 20 years of being a good guy is so stable, it can take those short adjustments towards like, okay, you can be a bad guy for 5 months, not gonna hurt your image, no problem. You come back, you're number one good guy again. Everyone's gonna be on board with this, no problem. Your brand is strong enough. Parasocial loyalty, parasocial relationships, right? Fans, they analyze his moves through years of emotional investment. It's not just what happens now. We're thinking of like, oh, that's his last 20 years. That's what he did. So meaning Cena can break kayfabe sometimes, for example, and can still keep trust. So yeah, he broke kayfabe, for example, while he's a bad guy on WWE, he still goes to Jimmy Kimmel and gives interviews, for example, right? And there's also one thing they call in media side is cultural stickiness. It's like the Cena meme culture, like what I did in the intro, you can't see me, and things like this that reinforces him as a pop culture icon, a pop culture constant, if you will, which is completely independent from his in-ring morality. Good guy, bad guy, Cena's always going to be a meme. There's always going to be like just an empty picture with nothing in there. And you're like, that's John Cena, for example, right? So that's something that will never go away. In the end, let's wrap up John Cena's heel turn, face turn, heel turn, face turn. He didn't turn as many times heel as the Big Show. That's a reference for the wrestling fans. But in the end, John Cena didn't need to turn heel or stay face. It doesn't really matter because he just need to keep us watching. That's what he did with his heel turn, with his face turn now. And let's be honest, no matter how he did it, it's the most face move of them all. It's like just to keep us invested in the product, in the company that he works for. And I think that he definitely did. So John Cena, if this really is your last ride, the last hurrah until December, and then he's done. I'm one of those who always thinks John Cena sucks, but I enjoy it. Until then, stay safe, take care, practice your 5 moves of doom, kick out a 2, and we talk next time. Bye.